Alright guys, so this is another video for Wusik Station 10 coding. And before I start, I have some great news. We are going to move to another place, and this time is our own house, thanks to the help of my parents. And it's a big deal. I'm just a bit nervous because moving is always a big deal. But I'm very happy that my parents could help us out and find this place that is very good. It's a bit small, but it's very good. And it's in the town we are living now, so it's just a few blocks away. So it's going to be partially an easy move because there is no distance involved, and the house we are now is a rental, and you have another month in the contract, so you can move and then do the internal renovations that they require with easy, with calm, without having to rush anything, and then return this place. And already talking with the owner, he's accepting stuff that we did to the house. So it's very nice. And this is probably going to be the last video for these following days. So I'm going to move on Monday, and probably around Wednesday I should be able to start working again, but mostly like Friday. But I'm still going to give support, partial support, using my cell phone, my mobile. So that's it. Okay, from the last code I was doing, I had the all the displays. I call this the parameter display. It's working below the knobs, and it's stuff that don't require like a button, like linear on and off, that don't require, doesn't show. And it's showing now the tooltip. I use a different box for the tooltip. It's just smaller, just to separate, and always showing to the right of the knob. And then later on, when I have some stuff here on the right, I'm going to show on the left instead. And today I was working on the multi-line because the single line is very easy to do. You just draw the start of the background, you calculate the middle of the background, and then draw the right background part. But for the multi-line, it's a mess. It's very complicated because you have to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 positions, the background, because it can be any size. You can see here on this example that I'm doing, it's showing that it's different sizes and different number of lines. So it is very complicated. And the code, let me take a look at the code here. A minute. Just closing something on my cell phone. Okay, let's go to the widget. So I created 3 separate codes. A code that has auto size, that I set for stuff that is not going to be fixed in size, or auto size, obviously. Otherwise, it's fixed in size. So I use the size of the parameter background. Just draw that, and then draw the text on top of it. So on this case of tooltip, I pass this image instead of the value display. So I know the 9 areas by using the pink lines. So I know this is I have here the first one that goes on the left top. Then here is on the left bottom. So using that pink line there as a guide. Then you have the other corners one. So I have all the corners using the pink lines as a guide. Then I can have the middle area also using the pink lines as a guide. The middle left, right, top, bottom. and the center area, which is this one. So it's 9 positions in total that I have to draw. So if it's just a single line, I just draw the right position, then I calculate the middle position by first calculating the total size that is required. So I check the text size to see what was the final text size. So with the final text size in mind, I can calculate what I need to draw in the middle area. So I just keep drawing the middle area until it's higher than what's left. So let's say I have a middle area and this draws all this part. If the text goes until here, I just need to draw a portion of that. So just a portion. So I do that in a very simple way. I I store this in a variable called middle width. And then while middle width is higher than 0, I calculate. So for this position here, I check the length of the whole middle area. So if that is higher than the middle area, then that's going to be the middle area. So let's say the final position is going to be, let's say, 40. Then it's going to draw just 40 instead. So here on my drawing process, I have the positioning, and here's the width of the decal. So I just draw what's left. So I keep drawing the whole thing until there's only a few left, or if it's 0, it's just quit. And then I draw the right area. But for the multi-line, for multi-line is very different. The multi-line, I have to draw all these corners. So these are the right, left, bottom, right and left corners. Then the middle, top and bottom. And the middle, left, right, and the middle. So it's a lot of stuff to draw. But it works. In the end, you have a perfect square with no overlapping pixels. I can check in here by doing a print screen. And if I take a closer look, you can see that it's very perfect. There is no overlapping pixels. Because if you have overlapping pixels, they look very strange. Especially because this is a transparency. Just a minute. So I just wanted to show this for this video. And this took me 2 days actually to do, not just today. I started yesterday and I finished this morning. And another thing that I had to worry about is how I'm going to draw the background of the tooltip. But then I remember that the tooltip shows and stays there, and it should always go away when you start moving the knob or the whatever parameter you are on. It goes away, and also goes away when you move the mouse away from the parameter that you are on. So I didn't do anything. I actually just draw the tooltip on the frame buffer of the OpenGL. And when I move the mouse away, it redraws the background. So it cleans up the tooltip by redrawing the whole background. And I was wondering, well, what's going to happen for the button here? Because when I draw away, it should not be clearly tooltip, but it is. So I did something right somewhere. I have to check. I think it's on the when it moves the mouse. It checks if the it was on top of a component and is no longer on top of a component. So I have the mouse event. It should be redrawing the whole screen. Model. Just want to double check that, but I think that's what I did. But there's so many stuff in the code. Like figuring component under the mouse shoe under the mouse, not the, does a mouse exit. Let me take a look at the mouse exit code on the knob. See what's going on. It repaints. I don't know where I put this, but somehow it's working. I will have to revise this another day because it should not be working. On the case of the oh, just glitch out. In the case of these guys here, these guys have tooltips but has also a parameter display. So when you move the mouse over there, because of the parameter display, it redraws the whole background when I move the mouse over. So that's correct. But in the case of the linear knob, it should have been doing that. So I don't know why it's redrawing. So I have to check that. Maybe this is set as modal, and when I set a parameter as modal, every time the mouse moves over, it takes a snap of the whole screen, like the menus. Then when you leave the menu, it redraws the background. So there's a few things I have to check. And also notice that it glitched out. The screen was a mess when I opened the first time. I have to figure out why it does. I saw it doing like 4 times already, so it's very rare. As soon as you move the screw wheel, it goes away. But I don't like that. Never do that. Anyway, I'm going to check why it's doing that. Let me check my initialization of the what's the parameter again? The curve type. Let's see the curve type integer. Where where do I set things as modal for the parameters here? It's is model is the parameter that look for. Menu is always model. Component model. Okay. Weird. Going to figure this one out. Just want to double check the layer repaint component. Want to see if that's what it's doing. I figured that one out. Let's see. Linear tip goes away and it sets the layer repaint off for some reason. I have to figure out why it's doing that. Showing tooltip. Oh, here. Okay, I see now. So every time you move away from a component, if it had a tooltip, so if it triggers the tooltip, it's going to have the show tooltip variable as true. Then it sets the delayed repaint all as true. So 2 frames after, it's going to redraw the screen. So that's good. That way, components like the on and off knob that doesn't have a parameter display is going to redraw the screen. It's a bit overkill if you think about it, but since this is OpenGL and everything is set in the graphics card, it's so fast that it's not really a big problem. But ideally, I would say that it should just patch a background and just paint the background instead. But I'm going to leave like that because it looks better this way. Because the background, when you read the background, you read from the native, not the native, from the target resolution. So in this case, my monitor is going to be 1080p. So it may look a bit off because I have to upscale to 4K again, so that the internal process goes to the 1080p again. It's a bit confusing, but it's just how the OpenGL works. For this case, everything's 4K and then resize it to wherever you need. So okay, that's it for this video. I will see you again in a few days, and wish me luck. Bye bye.